Hey everyone, welcome back. So today's video is going to be my final thoughts and review, a comprehensive review of my opinion on the Beaute Bar Coalescence eyeshadow palette that is done in collaboration with Noopur Makeup. Noopur is a content creator on YouTube and Instagram, and I will definitely leave her social media accounts linked below, and I will also link to Bella Beaute Bar's website. So this will be a really long review because, as you can see, I'm showing you in chronological order the different looks I've created with this palette, aside from the ones that have been filmed and posted already on YouTube. Um, yeah, so let's just get right into it. So this first look I'm doing is, I believe it's more on the neutral green side. First shade I'm taking is called Boomy. So Boomy utilizes eyeshadow ingredients, and Boomy is the Sanskrit word for earth. It is a mid-toned cool matte with gray-purple undertones. The shade is really pretty. I like that she put in a really neutral matte. And then the next shade I'm going in with is Decay. Decay utilizes eyeshadow ingredients, and Decay is a deep green that's slightly muted. It is a matte shade. It's also a little bit desaturated, but I don't really wear greens a lot anymore, so diving back into green was a bit kind of challenging just because I'm not used to wearing green anymore. Either way, it was still a really pretty shade to work with, and I just had to go slower with it because it's a shade that I find a little challenging, a little like scary to use, but it blended out very seamlessly on the eyes. Bella Beaute Bar's mattes are absolutely stunning. I've done plenty of looks using this palette. I mean, I can definitely tell you I've done 14 or more looks. I have tons of photos, tons of video clips of me just in my gallery on my phone. Like, yeah, I've done like so many, and there's still so many more looks to create. The next shade I am going in with for this look is Fauna. Fauna utilizes eyeshadow ingredients. Fauna is a neutral brown satin with a sheen. The sheen does dull whenever you blend it out or sheer it out, so it can definitely be used as a matte or as a shimmer that has only a slight sheen to it. So the shade Fauna was definitely included to be used as like a layering shade. Noopur does mention that she likes satins, so she definitely included a satin in it. The next shimmer shade I'm taking is Flora. Flora, it utilizes pressed pigment ingredients, and Flora is a regular shimmer or standard metallic in the palette. It has a mauve pink base, and it's loaded with cool silvery sparkles. It has small particle sized sparkles, and there is no shift to it. Now, honestly, the shade Flora, I was very pleased with. I didn't have like high expectations of it because it's just a metallic, but when I put it on my eyes, those sparkles just glimmer away. Like the shade looks so pretty in the sunlight, so pretty in ring light lighting. Like it's beautiful. The next shade I'm taking is Balance. Balance utilizes pressed pigment ingredients. Balance has a super sheer base. It also has multi-dimensional, multicolored sparkles with a green to pink shift. It also has specks of blue and purple, and it is the most textured shade in the palette, but it smooths out very well. And then now I'm showing you just different lighting, different like camera lenses of the looks. In case you're curious, I really enjoy doing these types of um, photos and videos because it allows you to see it in different ways. Um, yeah, I just like to capture these things. Now, I do mention, you know, pressed pigment ingredient or eyeshadow ingredient. So that is going to be listed on the back of the palette itself. There's two different sections. One section is for the eyeshadow ingredients, and it lists the shade names and like if it's an eyeshadow, if it uses eyeshadow ingredients. And then the second section has pressed pigment ingredients, and this lists out the shades that utilize pressed pigment ingredients. So I think that's pretty neat. Now in this look, I took the Urban Decay eyeshadow primer potion and I only applied it to one of my eyes just to get a feel for if these shades work better with an eyeshadow primer or without an eyeshadow primer. So yeah, the first shade I'm taking is Dusk. Dusk is a pressed pigment. Dusk is a muted, slightly dusty purple, but it is deep. It's a deep matte. I don't know if you can see from this clip here, but on my left eye, I had the Urban Decay eyeshadow primer potion, and it looks to blend seamlessly compared to my right eye that has no eyeshadow primer other than the only thing that's on my eye is my skincare. Now, I do use really dewy, hydrating skincare products, so I would say if you're working with pressed pigments or really like bright or deep shades, I believe using an eyeshadow primer will be your best bet, especially if you have really hydrating, dewy skincare products on underneath. The next shade I'm going in with is Vayu. Vayu utilizes eyeshadow ingredients. Vayu means air in Sanskrit. It is a gray matte with green-blue undertones. The shade is so pretty. I have a shirt this color, and I think I really like these types of tones that are like slightly muted but still have this like really calming presence to it. The mattes in this palette blend so well together. Like, although I use shades that don't look like they would go well together because they have slightly different undertones, they work wonders. Like, I think Noopur knew what she was doing when she was selecting the shades for this palette. Now, this palette does lean pretty cool toned. It is cool tone neutral leaning. Um, it has a lot of the neutral undertones though, so I think she did a phenomenal job selecting the shades for this palette. And Bella Beaute Bar's formulas are absolutely magnificent. The next shade I'm taking is Jal. Jal is a pressed pigment. Jal means water in Sanskrit. It has a medium deep gray base and it also has multicolored sparkles. Jal also has superfine blue sparkles that create a glowing effect. And it also has silver white diamond like sparkles that create the scatter effect on the eyes. And there are small particle sized shimmers or sparkles, sorry. And then again, I'm taking Balance on the inner corner. Balance is probably the only shade I can use in my inner corner, which is fine by me. I have plenty of other things in my collection to be using as an inner corner highlight, but Balance has that super sheer base that it can work as of right now with my like summer into fall skin tone. But yeah, this is one of my favorite looks I've done. Like, gel really does give that glowing effect on the eyes, and it's stunning. I really, really love this look so much. While using this palette, I did not notice any fallout from the mattes or even the shimmers slash sparkles. The formulation that Bella Beaute Bar does for their mattes, there's like no powdery kick up in the pan. There's no fallout on the eyelid. Like it's pressed pretty firmly, but it still packs a punch when you put it on your eyelid. So yeah, I enjoy their matte formula. Their shimmer formula, I don't have any other experience with Bella Beaute Bar shades, formulas, palettes other than this palette. And the sparkles, shimmers in this palette are creamy, but they still have so much like body and substance to it where it still stays on the eyes without like falling out onto the face or anything. And then this is the different photos and videos that I put in for this look. I mean, just look at this eyeshadow. It's stunning. I love purple eyeshadow. I mean, you can kind of see on one of my eyes that the blend isn't as seamless, and I think that's the eyelid that I didn't put eyeshadow primer on. So yeah, I definitely recommend using an eyeshadow primer with pressed pigment shades in general. Other than that, I didn't notice anything drastic changing to comparing both eyelids. I mean, look, it has the sparkly scattering effect gel does, but it also has that glowing effect. These shades are so harmonious together. And you can kind of see in my crease that the shadows are no longer there. You can kind of see it throughout all of the clips I'll show you. I mean, to be honest, I think it's because of my crease. I don't necessarily think it has anything to do with the shadows. It settles into my crease, but I don't find that to be like a downside. Now, I don't use an eyeshadow or a glitter glue or glitter glue primer, so I can't say for certain if these shadows would perform better with a glitter glue. But anyways, on to the next look. So as you can see on the right side of the screen, I did already circle the shades I've used or that I am going to still use in this palette for this look. I just don't have the footage for the beginning of me using this eyeshadow palette for this look. I can tell you that Libra went pretty much through the crease. I used Dusk as the outer corner shade. On my lid, I used the shade Harmony. Now, Harmony is a pressed pigment. Harmony is described as having a very sheer purple base with sparkles that shift blue, purple, pink, and peach. That peach does come out at a really sharp angle. So that's the only way you can see that peach, but it is there. And there is extra purple sparkles in this shade, Harmony. Harmony is textured, but it smooths out very well. On the lower lash line, I used Aries, which Aries is a pressed pigment. It is a burgundy matte that's really rich, and it is the deepest shade in the palette. There is a slight purple undertone, a very slight purple undertone to the shade Aries. And then I also used the shade Dawn, which is a pressed pigment. It's a light pink matte. It's a pretty true to pink, like a true pink shade. And it is the lightest shade in the palette. And then on my lower lash line, I believe I used a shimmer. The shimmer I used was Agni. Agni utilizes eyeshadow ingredients. Agni in Sanskrit means fire. It is a holochrome. It is the only holochrome in this palette. It has a sheer gray base that shifts pink, orange, and gold. And Agni does have extra orange sparkles in it. And the particle size, the sparkles are a medium particle size, but it still smooths out very well. So yes, I mean, I do notice the creasing. I mean, upon reflection, I am just reflecting because I am making a comprehensive review of this eyeshadow palette. If creasing on your eyelid is such a concern, especially with shimmers or like very emollient shimmers, I'd say definitely use a glitter glue or maybe a different type of eyeshadow primer that isn't the Urban Decay eyeshadow primer potion. The purple looks that I've created with this eyeshadow palette just blow everything else out of the water. Like nothing can compare to the purple eyeshadow looks that I've done with this palette. Um, yeah, anytime I did use this palette, I really enjoyed using the purple. Okay, my next look, this is another look in which I lost the footage for. So again, I did circle certain shades that I used. So I used Chaos all over the crease. Now Chaos uses eyeshadow ingredients. It is a limey but murky green matte. And then in the outer corner, I did use the shade Decay, which again is that deep green matte that's slightly muted, slightly desaturated. Um, and then in this look, I believe I used Dissonance on the lid as my shimmer. Dissonance utilizes eyeshadow ingredients, and Dissonance is a sheer light has a sheer light olive base with multicolored silver sparkles, and the sparkles shift orange to yellow. It has small particle-sized sparkles, but it still smooths out very easily. The shade Dissonance does combine warm and cool together because of that flip that it has with the shifting sparkles from orange to yellow. You guys, I filmed these so long ago that I struggle to remember. I could have better recorded the days that I used it and like the shades that I used in particular. Um, but it's okay. I live and I learn. Now, this would have been one of my favorite green looks that I did with this palette, but coming up here in a moment, I dip into a different shade from a different palette, and it kind of like changes the whole look, changes the whole vibe of the look drastically. So One of my favorite things to do with the shimmers from the Coalescence palette is to put it under my eyes, like on my lower lash line. It makes me look like a little fairy. It makes me look like I'm crying. Super pretty sparkles. It gives such a pretty effect. I love it. I love putting the shimmers from this palette on my lower lash line. This is where I dip into a pure white pressed pigment. I'm almost positive it's a pressed pigment. And you can see from my reaction, I did not know that it would be this pigmented. So yeah, now I'm having to do it to put this white is very pigmented. So I kind of regret putting the white. I think I would have liked the look better without it, but it's okay. Really, really tried to blend out. I mean, the look still came out very pretty, but when I went to work, the lighting that I have at my workplace, it's so bright, so many lights. And when I look in a mirror, I'm just like, wow. So that's what I look like. The look still did come out pretty nonetheless, but if there was one thing I'd change, it'd be the white pressed pigment eyeshadow that I put on my brow bone and on my inner corner. It just changed the look completely. Like, it looks fine here, right? It looks good. It looks cute. But here, a little stark. I'm still not the best with green eyeshadow, so now that I'm reflecting, I could blend the green shades out, the green shades in this palette out better, but it's okay. Okay, so this next look, I primed both of my eyelids with the Urban Decay Eyeshadow Primer Potion. And with this look, oh, I think I remember, I think I'm doing another green look, but only to redeem myself for that really crazy green look that we just saw. So I'm taking the shade Chaos. Again, it's that limey, murky green matte. I've enjoyed working with this shade a lot. Like I said, I don't really wear greens a ton, but this one really was a lot easier to work with because it's a less vibrant or less pigmented shade. It's like a shade that's much closer to my skin's tone, so it was much easier for me to work with. When I was editing this video, I mean, I edit these different footages different on different days, and I'm a little forgetful with some things, but now that I'm looking back, I'm like, did I really edit this video on 2x speed? Like, is that the speed I used, or was it actually like higher than that? Sometimes I don't notice my mistakes until I'm playing it back and watching it back, like right now. Okay, and then I went in with the shade Flora, which is a pressed pigment. It's that standard metallic in the palette. Um, with this palette, there's only one regular shimmer or standard metallic, and that's the shade Flora, which is crazy because Flora, if this is the standard metallic formula from Bella Beaute Bar, then their metallics are off the charts because it's stunning. And the nice thing about the mattes in this palette is that they're very, very buildable. So I've only so far used Chaos in the crease and in the outer corner, and it looks to be building up so beautifully in the outer corner. Like, I really, really took my time with this look because I was devastated about my previous green look that I was excited about, but I ruined it because of the white. But here, now I'm like taking my time, I'm making sure the blends are better, and yeah, I learned my lesson. So, being a little more precise here. And then I'm taking the shade Sprout. Sprout uses eyeshadow ingredients. Sprout is a cool toned winter greenish type of matte. It has a slight blue undertone to it, and it is a mid-toned shade in the palette. By the way, the shade descriptions that I'm getting for these shades in the Coalescence palette, I got from Noopur's reveal video of this eyeshadow palette. I just sat down, jotted down how she described the shades because obviously she's the one that created these shades with Bella Beaute bar, so I definitely wanted to hear it from her voice firsthand how she describes them because that's the best way to kind of relay that information to you. I really like this look. I think out of I can't say out of all the green looks. Maybe I can, but this is definitely up there in terms of looks. Like, I love all of my purple looks, but this green look is really pretty. And the shade Flora, man, that shade just kind of boggles my mind. How this can be the standard metallic, the regular shimmer. Because it's so stunning. The sparkles really come out. I'm still not any better at, showing you Sparkle Cam. I hope Miss Tom does a great job at Sparkle Cam. That is just not for me. Of course, it could be my camera quality. I am using my laptop camera, so their Sparkle Cam is so good. I mean, look at the shade of Flora. It's just so beautiful in its own right. Okay, the next look I'm doing, can't remember, but I am using the Urban Decay Eyeshadow Primer Potion. I'm doing a much more pinky look. This one I also really, really enjoyed. I don't really wear pinks a lot. So this palette brings me outside of my comfort zone, which I truly appreciate because there are shades in here that I don't ever see myself using, but it brought me out of my comfort zone and allowed me to challenge myself. And I really appreciate that about this palette. Like, my creativity really came out of me, and I really enjoyed using this palette, you guys. And then I am just going to show you real quick. Like, I've done so many looks with this palette. I've taken so many pictures. So the shade Dawn, sorry, it's a pressed pigment. It's a light pink matte. It's that true pink matte. And it is the lightest shade in the palette. And then all over the lid, I'm taking Harmony. Harmony, it's that has that sheer purple base with sparkles that shift blue, purple, pink, and peach. There's extra purple sparkles in it, and it is textured, but it smooths out very well. These shades, all of these shades work so well together. Like when I look at the palette and I consider what shades I want to pair with what, I'm like, will that really look well on the eyes? Like, does that look cohesive? And then I put it on the eyes and it is cohesive. And I think that really stems from Noopur's ability to like see color in the way that she does, and to like for her to just bring out that really, I don't know if it's specific, but it's that really like intuitive thing that she has with color, that how she sees color. And I really like that about this. So for this look, I did first use the Makeup Forever Artist Color Pencil in the shade Limitless Brown to line my lid, or line my lash line, to act as a base for the shade Aries, which is that burgundy matte. And I believe it's the richest, deepest shade in the palette. I layered Aries on top of the Makeup Forever Artist Color Pencil, just because I wanted it to act as a guide, and I was curious to see if, like, Aries, the shade Aries would come out more with a base underneath. I think with shades that are very intimidating, I think the best way to work with them is to use them as liner, or to just put it under the lash line. Like it's in a smaller, more confined area. So that way, it doesn't, you don't have to blend it out so much to where it kind of like goes everywhere. And I think that's a really, really good way to use mattes or shades that are very intimidating in general. Just kind of keep it in a small, localized area. I did really like this look. It was very pretty. Always got to put a sparkle on the lower lash line. I think I've only really done it with this particular eyeshadow palette, the Coalescence palette, because it has all of these like flips in it where I feel like people can see it very easily, as I turn my head. And I think like seeing that on the lower lash line just like kind of indicates to them like, oh, that girl is into makeup. Like, kind of just instills in them like, oh, yep, that's a makeup lover right there. So yeah. Now I will say, we're coming up on the like different photos and videos I took in different like lighting situations and using different camera lenses. Um, the burgundy liner is so pretty. I will say throughout the day, and you can see in this footage too, like the liner ended up transferring into my crease, and I have a feeling it's because of the Makeup Forever Artist Color Pencil. I don't necessarily think it's because of the matte shade Aries, the burgundy matte. Obviously, I can't say for certain because I don't think I tried to do it again without the Makeup Forever Artist Color Pencil, but I have a lot more experience with that pencil, and it is a multi-use product, so it can be used on the lips, on the eyes, anywhere really. And that pencil formula is very creamy, and I think it doesn't work as a eyeliner to line the lids. I think there's a better way to use it. So yeah, I have a feeling the transfer of the shadow is because of the Makeup Forever Artist Color Pencil. Oh, that shade Harmony is so pretty, and that liner is so good. All right, my next look. So with this one, I'm going in with the shade Fauna first. So I believe this look here is before I did my full video on the shade Fauna in conjunction with other shimmers. To do what Noopur calls shade cascade, I think I wanted to test out the shade of Fauna with another shimmer before just diving full headfirst into a video like that. So here I'm just taking Fauna all over the lid, into the crease, in the outer corner. I will say I do tend to like put concealer all over my eye. Kind of acts as a primer. Um, but I don't notice a huge difference with this palette in particular, needing a concealer or needing a specific eyeshadow primer. I think this palette is just beautiful in any kind of way that you use it in regards to like priming your lid or not priming your lid, whether it's concealer or an actual eyeshadow primer. I think this is up there in terms of one of my favorite looks, um, because it suits my personal like style in terms of neutral shadows. Like I wear like colorful eyeshadow all the time, but um, I love browns too. Like browns are just so in my wheelhouse, and using the shade Fauna and Pumi together, sorry, um, this look just gave me the confidence. It gave me like, I don't like this word, but it gave me like a sort of sexy feel. Like I looked so sultry. It was really like feeling myself with this look in particular. Um, this particular look with the brown shades, or like the neutral cool brown shades, really invoked something for me. So yeah. So on top of Fauna, that satin, I am using the shade Agni. Agni again is the Sanskrit word for fire. Agni is just only uses eyeshadow ingredients. And I mean, look at that flip, look at the sheen, not the sheen, look at the shimmer, sparkle, glow from the shade Agni. Agni is the only holochrome in the palette. Um, so it is one of the special shades. There are 5 special shades. This one, Noopur specifically called out as being a holochrome. Now, I don't personally know the difference between holochrome, multichrome, duochrome, and other types of chromey shades, but the shade is absolutely stunning. It has that like really gray but sheer base, so it really kind of adds to the neutrality of this look, but also gives that sultry look. And then with the that really strong warm shift, I think it's so pretty. Like you can even see in this look right now, those sparkles are everything. Not to mention there are extra orange sparkles in here. So Agni is definitely... Oh, I can't pick, guys. I'm trying to choose like top contender for colorful shimmer, neutral shimmer, neutral matte, colorful matte, but it's just too hard. I cannot decide. And then with that brown liner, like this look, I really enjoy this look. If you couldn't tell, I was like feeling myself in the little montage. Yeah, I really, really like this look a lot. Oh my goodness, guys. Watching my video footage back, I'm like, some of these I do not look good. Like dandruff in my hair or like dry scalp. It's just, don't even get me started on my skin. I know sometimes it looks bad, but hey, I'm a human. I look different sometimes each day. Okay, and then this look, again, I'm doing another look where fauna is the base. Putting it all over the lid. And in this look, I think I was trying to do like a halo look, but a really like sloppy halo look. Halo eyeshadow. I think the inclusion of a satin really like allows for even more looks in this palette, in my opinion. This palette is absolutely pretty. I mean, look at how messy I really got. It's gotten real messy just for me using it. The next shade I'm taking all over the lid on top of Fauna is the shade Balance. Balance, again, it's the most textured shade in the palette. And although it is the most textured, I did not get any fallout from it. And yeah, so it is so pretty. Let me see. Yeah, and the fact that Balance has this super sheer base on it, it can just play well with all of the shades in this palette. It is the most, I'd say it is the most dimensional shade in this palette in terms of like shimmers. Yeah, Bella Beaute Bar's shimmer formula across all the different special shades they have on offer, it's truly, I'm so glad to have this palette because I don't know that I've ever experienced other shimmer formulas like this. I have dabbled in like other indie brands eyeshadow formulas, but nothing that is to this extent, to this intensity. I mean, like Noopur and Bella Beaute Bar really killed it with this palette. Like, I have nothing but good things to say, honestly. All right, and here we start to move into eyeshadow looks I've done with this palette that I don't actually have video footage of. So these are just photos and like little small video clips that I've taken of the looks I've done. So this one, I believe I used the shade Vayu all over in the crease on the lid. And then I believe I used Flora as my shimmer on the lid. That was just like a two shadow look. I don't think I used anything else. I mean, sometimes the most prettiest looks that I've done are just two shadow looks. I just like that with this palette you can do single shadow looks, 2 shadow looks, or you can use as many shadows as you want. And I still think with all the looks I've done, they all still look cohesive with one another. It's still uniform. And then, oh, this already filmed and posted. This is where I did like my get ready with me, my 1 hour long get ready with me, where I did like a green purple look, my Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle vibe look. And this is what it looks like. That purple just stands out so much more than the green. I mean, the green, don't get me wrong, it's stunning. Like, it's probably one of the other best green looks I've done. But I kind of am like wishing now that the green or that the purple was on the eyelid and the green was on the lower lash line. And then here, I'm almost positive I used Aries pretty much in the crease all over the lid. I think this was like a really quick look for me. I was running late for work. So I was like, oh, why not just use the most deepest, richest matte in this palette and just blend it everywhere. I will say my blend's probably not the best, but here it is. And then pretty sure I used the shade Flora again as my shimmer. And then this look, I specifically recall getting compliments on. I did get compliments on a lot of these looks. It's just this one is the most recent to me. And I used like the pastels, more of the pastels. So I used Libra, which Libra has a lot more white pigment in it, and it's like an almost pastel. It's bright but saturated, but it's definitely still like definitely a purple. There's no denying that. And then I also used the shade Dawn in this look. So yeah, so I used Libra and Dawn in the crease or outer corner. And then I'm pretty sure I applied the shade Balance, because Balance is one of the easiest shimmers to kind of work with, and like it's kind of like a like no thought given to it type of shimmer where you can just like put it on and it still looks fantastic. Like yeah. So those were my looks. I hope you enjoyed seeing the footage of my different looks, seeing how it blends out. Now, I do note in this video footage that a lot of this is sped up. I will say there might be inconsistencies at which the speed at which it's sped up, because sometimes it looks like 2 times speed, but sometimes it's giving like 3 times speed. So I wish I could be like more frank with you, but I can't remember if I actually used 2x speed or 3x speed. But just know that the speed is not consistent with like reality of me actually blending. I do not blend that fast. So yeah, those are my looks. So now let's jump into my actual final thoughts. I mean, you've heard it already, but just to be a little more thorough. Okay, so just to give you some details on this palette. This palette is available on the Bella Beaute Bar website, and I believe if you are not from the US, it is available on other retailers for like European countries. I'm not super familiar with it, so I apologize. But this does retail for $69. This is what the palette will look like when you receive it. I mean, it'll definitely be a lot cleaner, but at least you can tell that I adore this palette and that I use it very well. So this palette is $69 US. This palette is also coupon eligible. So please, if you do decide to take money off with this palette, use Noopur's code, please. I mean, she deserves it. Yes, this is a 16 pan palette. There are 9 mattes, 5 special shimmer shades, 1 regular shimmer, and 1 satin. This palette is vegan, and it is also paraben and cruelty free. It is made in the PRC. The net weight is 303 grams. I don't know how that transitions to like a different type of measuring thing. And it also has a 24-month shelf life. Another thing about this palette is it does have these little divots in here where you can pop the shade out, or any of the shades out, to create your own palette if you're into that thing, or if you're, you want to take specific shades on the go when you're traveling. I think that's a really neat touch. This palette does have some weight to it just because it is magnetic, but I do like that feeling. Let's see. And then just some more little notes that I have. And this is pertaining to like Noopur's vision of this palette. So the way Noopur likes to do her eyeshadow, I mean, this palette is truly like a love letter to herself. Like, and this is her love letter that she decided to share with us. And I think that is such a beautiful moment. Yeah, she's a little cutie, honestly. So, some things I want to say about Noopur and her vision. She created this palette to be used in the ways that she used them. So she really does like to do opposites. She likes to mix warm and cool tones. She likes to mix muted and bright tones. And she likes to use neutral and colorful shades all in one look. And if you're not familiar with her, I mean, if you just even look at her Instagram page and look at her photos or her reels or watch any video from her, like you can kind of see her in this palette. You can see her vision clearly. I mean, yes. And then another way that Noopur likes to utilize eyeshadow is to layer sheer shades over other shadows. That would be other shadows like mattes and or shimmers. So I don't know if you recall with the shade descriptions, but a lot of the shimmers in this palette, they like almost all of them have a pretty sheer base. And that was done intentionally because, again, this is Noopur's palette. She created it the way that she uses eyeshadow. And I really appreciate that because honestly, I think the fact that these shades are very, like, have a very sheer base, it feels less intimidating and it seems much easier to work with, especially if you're like new to eyeshadow or new to like indie brands that are like doing the multi-chrome, holochrome, duochrome, multi-chrome stuff. That I think having shimmers in the palette that have a sheer base really helps like a newbie, Like, and I think, I don't know if Noopur knew that, but like for someone who like me personally haven't delved super strongly into indie brands that have shifting shades like this, like very shifty shades, I think this is a good place to start, to be honest. So she does have this method that she calls shade cascade. It is a term that she has coined. And shade cascade is basically what I said, where you take, you layer a matte with a matte to create a new matte, or you take a shimmer that's sheer and layer it with a shimmer that's has more base pigment to it to create a new shade. And that is what shade cascade essentially is. Um, and yeah, so I think that was a really nice touch for her to include in this palette. Um, and then the shade names of this palette, just like she likes to use opposite tones in her eyeshadow looks, she also decided to combine science and nature with art. And that's how she came up with the shade name. So they're all kind of opposites of each other. And then I don't know if you heard when I was describing the shades, but some of the shades are not English words, they are Sanskrit words. Noopur is of Indian heritage, so I think it was such a nice touch for her to include her culture in it. So again, the shades are the four elements: fire, air, water, and earth. This palette is based on the four elements, so she used Sanskrit words for the four elements. So Pumi is one, Agni is the other, Vayu is another, and Jal is the other. And you can kind of tell that the way she named the Sanskrit words for these shades, she also managed to like make Jal, which is the Sanskrit word for water, she made it a bluish shade, and so on and so forth. I think that was just a lovely touch. She did it so well on this palette. Like, I can see the vision, I can see her creativity, I can see her love in this palette, and it's lovely. I truly have probably no bad opinions of this palette. It's truly just such a wonderful palette, and so glad this was my first palette from Bella Beaute Bar, honestly. Like, I don't think I would want it any other way. And yeah, Bella Beaute Bar's shimmers are spectacular, you guys. Like, phenomenal. I don't know how many times I have to say so many good words. Like, you've seen it for yourself in my video clips, and their mattes are so wonderful. Like, the mattes blend out so well, and the fact that these shades all work so well together, it's a 10 out of 10 for me. This is probably one of the best palette releases of the year. I'm not even up to date on stuff like that, and I just think, what could top this, you know? And really quickly, I do just want to swatch the shimmers in particular. I don't mind swatching shimmers from eyeshadow palettes. I don't like swatching mattes from eyeshadow palettes because, you know, it's already a dry formula. Why would I want to put my sticky, moist fingers in there and ruin the formulation? So I don't mind doing it with the shimmers. So I will swatch all seven of the shimmery shades for you. The first shade I'm going to swatch is Fauna. Again, Fauna is the satin in the palette, the only satin in the palette. This is what it looks like. Again, this is a neutral brown. And the next shimmer I will go in with is Flora. Flora is the only standard metallic or regular shimmer in this palette. It does have like a mauve pink undertone to it. There's no shift to this shade, so that is kind of what it looks like. Don't have the best lighting, so I apologize. But the shade, though it does have that mauve pink base or undertone to it, the sparkles that are in it are very like cool toned silvery. So Jal is the only blue in the palette. Jal is the only blue in the palette, and Jal has a medium deep gray base. So Jal has a medium deep gray base. It has multicolored sparkles. I don't know if you can see. There's super fine blue sparkles that have the glowing effect. And then there's also the silver white diamond-like sparkles that give the scatter effect. Let's see if I can show you on my finger. No, you can kind of see that it is a glowing blue shade. So Dissonance is the green multi-chrome in the palette. So a lot of these shades, they do pick up like that. If you're using your finger, they kind of pick up with like, you know, flakes coming off. But I can tell you right now, I've picked up this much on my finger before, and I've pressed it onto my lid before. No fallout still. Like, I think there's so much, like, not so much emollients, but there's enough emollients, but also it balances its ability to not be dry and flaky, which therefore does not lead to fallout. So I think that this is such a great formula from Bella Beaute Bar. So this is the shade Dissonance. I hope you can see the flip. So Dissonance, it has a sheer light olive base. It has multicolored silver sparkles, and then some of the sparkles shift orange to yellow. So Harmony is the purple shimmer in the palette. You see what I mean though? Like, yeah, it does come up on your hand very flaky with a lot of texture. Like, there's no denying the texture. Even Noopur doesn't deny the texture from it. But Harmony has a very sheer purple base. With sparkles that shift blue, purple, pink, and peach. Again, and I heard this from Noopur in her video, that peach definitely comes out. You just have to have it at the right angle. So this is Harmony. I don't know if I can capture it. Can you see that? Isn't that so cool? What a cool shade, man. Wow. Yeah, you can kind of see it there. Yeah, this is a multi-dimensional shade as well. There's also extra purple sparkles in here. And I mean, as you can see, you saw the textured nature of it on my finger, and you see how smoothly it kind of blends out. I'll be honest, I don't have mature eyelids. I don't have like a ton of wrinkles on my eyelids. So I can't say for sure if like this palette works for mature skin types. Acne is the holochrome in this palette. It's the only holochrome in this palette. Agni has a sheer gray base that shifts pink, orange, and gold. Oh, I probably should have applied more. There are also extra orange sparkles in the shade Agni. The sparkle particle size is medium. Shift again is pink, orange, and gold. If you can see it. See the pink. See the orange flip pretty much most of the way. And the gold. Such a pretty shade. You can kind of see that slightly sheer base. That's the wonderful thing about this palette, is how sheer the shades are, the shimmer shades are. I really appreciate that. Lastly, the last shimmer shade in this palette is Balance. So Balance has a really sheer base. Can't say for certain what the undertone of the base is. There it is on the finger. It has multi-dimensional, multicolored sparkles. The shift goes from green to pink, and there are also specks of blue and purple. This one is the most textured shade in the palette. I don't know if you saw on my finger, but definitely I will say this one does have the most sparkles that I can kind of feel. I wouldn't say it's like strong particles that you can feel like, oh, it's so rough like sandpaper. It's more like with smoothing out all of these shimmer sparkly shades, that's the one that I can feel it the most in. But yeah, it still smooths out very beautifully. Yeah, and then it also has the green to pink shift, but it has multi-dimensional sparkles. I don't know if you can see the green to pink. Oh, there it goes. Yeah, that is the shimmers swatched on my hand. I do want to pick one neutral shimmer from the palette. So again, here are the shimmers. So I'm going to cheat a little, and I'm going to do one neutral shimmer, one like colorful shimmer, right? Okay, so the neutral shimmer that stood out to me the most, show you, is Flora. I really like the shade Flora. Now I've worked with metallics before, but I think this shade Flora surprised me the most because of how much sparkles it has. Like, I know it's not coming across on camera, but hopefully from my video clips, you could see the sparkles and how like fine they are, but how pretty they look. Like, Flora really surprised me the most, and it's stayed in my mind the most. So Flora is the neutral shimmer that I choose. Now, the colorful shimmer. That one's hard. I'll have to say the colorful shimmer I like the most is Jal. This is Jal here. It's the only blue in the palette. I think I really like the shade Jal the most in terms of like colorful shimmers is because of the different sparkles it has. So again, from the shade description, Jal has those super fine particle sparkles that give that glowing effect. So the shimmers are particularly small and fine. And then, but not even that, there's also like those silvery white sparkles in there. I don't even think I can capture it. But those offer that scattered eye effect that so many people love. And I really appreciate that in this specific shade. Like, Jal can do it all. So yeah, Jal is my favorite colorful shimmer shadow. Okay, so now on to the mattes. So again, for this ranking, for this choosing, I'm going to do one colorful matte and one neutral matte. One that I choose as my neutral matte shade is Vayu. I really love the shade Vayu. Again, like, that shade just kind of speaks to me. It's gray, but it also has this like tinge to it that like it's not just a gray. You know, it has that like gray blue undertone, I believe, or green blue undertone. So like it's like a grungy sage. Like, if you deepen sage up a lot more, you'll get that, and I think that shade is just phenomenal. Okay, now my favorite colorful. Okay, wait, guys, I can't do that. I'm gonna actually add another category. So we have my neutral matte, my favorite neutral matte, which is Vayu, so that's not the issue here. The category that I'm going to add is my favorite pastel-y bright shade, matte in particular, and then my favorite deep grungy matte. Okay, so my favorite deep grungy dark matte. This is actually harder than I thought. I'm gonna have to give it to the shade Dusk. I really enjoyed working with that purple. Although it seemed like it gave me trouble, I much prefer working with a purple like this more than a green. Maybe it's because I'm biased and my favorite color is purple, but Dusk is probably going to be my favorite deep saturated matte. Okay, and then when we go on to like pastels or brights, okay, as a category, you guys might say that I'm cheating. I'm not cheating, okay? But I'm going to have to give it to Chaos. Chaos is a shade that really surprised me got me out of my comfort zone, and I'm so happy to have used. And the looks I've created with the shade Chaos really are kind of my favorites. So Chaos, although it's not a pastel like these three, it is still slightly bright. These are my favorites. This palette is fantastic. I love it. Noopur, you did such a wonderful job. Bella Beaute bar. I look forward to seeing what else you release. Your formulas are spectacular. Please keep up the great work. I'll definitely be staying tuned to see what you release. Yeah, thank you guys for watching.